And so we will have Ellen Wilson, Director of Therapy Services from UCLA Health. Please welcome Ellen Wilson.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us at this wonderful event. And I am a physical therapist by background, and I'm one of the executive directors for UCLA Health, overseeing all the rehab, respiratory therapy, and our wonderful integrative medicine services. I am here today to talk about a collaboration that we have done with LA Opera for our long COVID patients. UCLA Health has treated over 30,000 COVID patients to date. And about 20% of those we found to have long COVID symptoms. So we have a long COVID clinic where it's multidisciplinary and they do all the medical things and psychological support and all that. But these patients really needed something else, something beyond that when they're out of their acute medical phase. Well, everybody knows the challenges of long COVID. I don't want to do a medical lecture, but it's all these things: reduced endurance, brain fog, eye issues, headaches, etc. All of these horrible symptoms, which are literally life-stopping for these patients. Their entire existence has changed for the worse. The other huge factor that we're seeing is a lot of psychological effects like depression, anxiety, all of those things that were talked about earlier. So we really needed something that was more of a long-term approach for these patients. These are the interventions that we've always provided: counseling and support, diabetes care, medications, all of the traditional approaches. And now we have this program with the LA Opera that we can refer these patients to. The physical benefits are breathing exercises that these wonderful musicians provide to increase lung capacity, increase endurance. It actually decreases some pain they're having, shortness of breath. I think the biggest benefit is the sense of community, the socialization, because it's done as a group. So they've formed this little support system with each other, doing this healing through music. It's enjoyable. They're not focused on their disease and sitting at home and feeling like they can't do anything. It's once a week, and they look forward to Fridays at 11. And again, it just gives the participants a sense of joy and hope. We've limited it to UCLA patients initially, so they have to be referred by their physician or pulmonary rehab to make sure they're medically able to sort of participate. So they have to be medically stable, and they kind of have to like to sing. Well, they don't really even have to like to sing, but they, or be able to sing. But they have to be able to want to participate. They're sent a consent form. We're collecting data, a pre-participation survey. They get a survey after. They're sent the song lyrics and then some props that they use, like a straw, a cup, different things that the artists use with them. And really, it's pretty straightforward. It's supposed to be non-judgmental, so nobody can comment on whether they're on key or not. They can turn their sound off. And the idea is just do the best you can each session. If you can only do one of the song lines, then do that. They have to have another adult in the house, so in case something happens. And they check in frequently to let us know how they're doing, and they need to take a break when needed. They start with a wheel of emotions, which I love, a wheel of emotions. So each participant says what is their word for today. So I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling hopeful, whatever it is. So they talk about that. They do a little mindfulness exercise at the beginning to kind of focus. Then there's a focus on posture and alignment, which that alone is really hard for some of these patients because they're so closed up. Then they get into some breathing exercises, so I've learned all the terms. They do straw breathing, which is through a straw, and that gives resistance to the breath to help increase the lung capacity. There's box breathing, which is literally 2 breaths up, hold, 2 breaths out, hold. So you're envisioning a box, right? They do different vocalization exercises. And then they actually sing songs. Usually it's songs they know, and they have the lyrics they've received the lyrics in advance. So they build up. They do, maybe one verse 1 week, and then they build up each week until they're singing a full song. And then, like I said, they get a survey after they've done a 6-week series to see, how they've benefited. There's additional considerations. There's lots of education that we provide, and there's a lot of questions medically that we try to answer. And then Nani does these fancy other techniques that are known, I think, to professional singers. But these participants just love learning this stuff. So here's some of our outcomes, and I just put the highlights in. You can see this is the depression scale, and they are by rating. So you can see that overall depression went from a lot of sometimes they're feeling depressed on these various elements to rarely. So that was probably the biggest impact. This is an evidence-based scale that we use was set up by one of our psychologists. Fatigue has improved, so going down means it's better. So sometimes feeling too fatigued to do things to rarely. So they're able to now walk to the mailbox to get the mail. Or they're able to go with their spouse to the grocery store. These little things that we take for granted. Sleep disturbance improved, which I thought was interesting. So they're sleeping better. I think a lot of that is the psychological effect. And then ability to participate just improved across the board. So these are very preliminary results, and as we go along, we hope to gather more and publish, which would be really great. Pain, there was a little bit of improvement in pain, but really not that much improvement. It was less focus on pain, which is huge. Physical function improved in one aspect. So our next steps are that we will continue the program, continue to collect the data, would love to publish, and we're trying to get our other UC counterparts to participate. So that's the program. It was at our academic medical center, everyone thinks it's so innovative because, it's not medication, not research-based, but what a huge difference it makes for those COVID patients. Thank you.